Everyone wants to know your thoughts on the fire at Notre Dame.
Well, I'm very much against it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I thought it was
We
a
were, we
bad
were worried
idea.
about that. Yeah, we were worried about it. Yeah, but
I actually, my biggest feeling is relief, uh, in the sense that they saved the most important things: the crown of thorns. I haven't heard about the true cross, the nail, etc. But from what I could tell, and they were unaccounted for days ago, but no one said whether they've turned up. But I've noticed that news has kind of dried up about what they've been finding. The last I heard was that, in point of fact, it was only the central section around the new altar that was devastated because when the tower fell, it fell in.
yeah, I saw the pictures. I think most
Right.
people have seen the pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, and it left the high altar intact. It left. I mean, there's a lot of water damage, surely, but by and large, considering the horrific action, it got off pretty light. Um, I mean, the framework of wood between the ceiling and the roof was destroyed. The roof itself was destroyed. And we don't have trees of that thickness to replace them with, although there are elsewhere in Europe, if not in France. I mean, there's over $1 billion already to repair it. The real problem now is going to be the nature of the restoration.
Yeah.
Ideally, they would just clean it up, replace the tower, the tower and back, and call it a day. But you know that every modernist around, and I mean that in terms of architecture, would love to get his hands on Notre Dame to screw it up. And one thing you learn when you travel around Europe is the glee that people take in putting in incongruous elements into beautiful old churches. This would be a godsend to the really stupid and moronic. Now, that having been said, the man they put in charge of reconstruction is a devout Catholic, whatever that means, also a general in the French army. So we
I,
can at least hope at this juncture that between that and the fact that a lot of the money has come in from people with taste, that perhaps the morons will be staved off. It was interesting that Macron initially said that it would be restored in accordance with France's new multicultural society. And the outcry was so tremendous that he actually deleted it from his Twitter.
wow.
So I hope that the good sense of the Frenchman will prevail. We'll see.
So they got a general to restore it. How is that a qualification?
Well, I mean, the thing is, you got to bear in mind how divided French society is. Uh, the military tend to be much more Catholic than the other parts of the government.
Well, I mean, wait.
Well, see,
How
unlike
about
the
an
rest,
engineer? I mean, that's what. Like, what about like a devout engineer,
they're
or
not
an
that common.
architect? They're not
They're
that
not that
common.
common. No. And as I say, the French government is a strange thing. The state apparatus, elements of it are traditionally more devout than others. The military certainly is, and having a military man in charge would tend to give more confidence to the devout Catholics whom they expect to get the bulk of the money out of.
Okay, so you sound confident. I mean, are you confident? I
I
don't.
wouldn't say confident; I'd say hopeful.
Okay.
Confident would be too strong a word, but I'm hopeful that a combination of things. I mean, you remember that the churches in France are owned by the state. That is, all the ones built before 1905 are owned by the state. And I know that in many particular cases, you even had, when the changes came along, because they had to be approved by the town council, the priest might want to, completely gut his church and build a Vatican II monstrosity. But if the city hall wasn't interested, it wasn't happening. And there were many, many examples of communist mayors across France refusing to allow the ruin of their churches simply to spite the priest. mean, it's a weird setup,
Okay.
but that's why I say I'm hopeful. But there's so many factors at play that at this stage I couldn't begin to predict the outcome.
Okay. What do you think about tangentially? What do you think about the proliferation of church burnings in France?
Well, I would hesitate to say that the Muslims are responsible for it all, but it certainly is becoming popular. And people being people, life being what life is, um, it will eventually, I think, produce a backlash. And if the authorities do not do something to stop it, people will take these things in their own hands. And we know that when that happens, it's usually very unpleasant. But if that's the case, the fault will lie, to be honest with you, neither with the perpetrators nor with the vigilantes who string them up, but with the government that refused to do anything in the first place.